We love.
Right. Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome back to the FACTZ podcast. This is the Man United versus Luton Town post-match review. And we got my boy Burhan over here, and Mohammed.
Yo,
And we're gonna go through the whole game, post-game analysis, what went right, what we could still improve on, and just kind of the future of what United is gonna look like this season. I'll start off with you, Burhan, bro. Welcome to the pod. This is a, you know, 1-0 win, nothing too fancy, but I just want to have your take on, how the game panned out. What did you see that you liked in this game?
yeah, man. I saw some great improvements. We had a solid game plan going into this game. We knew what was going on. Um, it was a 1-0, which isn't that great against Luton. Could have been 4 or 5-0, you know, lacking that final product in our play. But I can't complain, man. A 1-0 win, much needed with a good game plan. So,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree. I think we definitely need to be more clinical in the final third. There's a couple chances. I think Rashford had one where you'd expect him to bury that, and he kind of took an extra touch, and it was he just isn't sharp right now. So, and speaking of
mm,
Rashford, there's been a lot of noise around him and his performances. People calling for him to get dropped, but it seems like Ten Hag still believes that the spark is gonna come back. What's your take on on Rashford's situation right now, and what do you think is the best thing for him? Should he have some bench time, or do you think just keep him going, trying to get that confidence back?
I think you keep him going. I don't think you could drop Rashford, especially because we don't have that much quality. We have Garnacho on the left. I think Rashford's been solid on the right. Ever since he's been on the right with Dallo, he's been good, and Garnacho on the left's been good. I think we need to give him time, he's going through a dry spell. It happens. But, we don't have many other options to be honest. So, yeah.
I feel like he was. I think he was good today. I still think that you can still see he needs improvements. Just like his being more productive, his end product. I think he's losing. He's not as confident as I want him to be as well too. So I think he needs to work on that. But I think today, let me say this: I think Garnacho had a better performance than Rashford
Yeah,
overall.
it's kind of been like that
Yeah,
for
for
the last
sure.
few games too. Yeah, we kind of seen Garnacho kind of putting in more effort. It's
Exactly, effort, 100%.
effort, yeah. I think Rashford, that's where he's struggling, like the effort. Like he on defense, he will like try to run and like open his arms up, try to make himself big, but there's just a little difference in the effort compared to Garnacho. So I definitely could see that. But to your point, Burhan, earlier, the quality, we don't have a lot of quality. So beggars can be choosers, right? So right now we
Yeah.
kind of we have to just keep him going and try to get that first goal back. I think when he gets 1, 2 goals, he'll get more
Yeah.
hungry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
it's scary because I heard the stat today. They were talking about like Rashford, like this year last time he had about 13 goals.
Already.
Oh, yeah, already
Yeah.
at 13
Yeah.
goals. So like I'm looking at him, this game, and I'm like, dude, like what's going on? You
Yeah.
know, I do think that also like we were saying this earlier that United are not creating enough and for our attackers.
Hmm.
Like you can see like we don't have a lot of chances. Like I mean, Hoyland, he doesn't really have that much chances where he has to get to like shoot and score. It's always like one or two. He's fighting with the defenders. I haven't really seen him run at the defenders.
Yeah.
Giving him that opportunity. So I think that also is hurting Rashford. But
Hmm.
he has to shake this form, bro. He has to shake this form, and he has to he has to put a bit more effort in going forward. Have that confidence in him. So that's lacking. But I'm worried for him, man. I'm worried for him. I'm worried for him. If I'm being completely honest, you
Yeah,
know.
one
Game,
thing I would say though, on the positive side, is like him crossing the ball. I am completely happy with that. Like
yeah,
we need wingers to cross the ball because crossing creates confusion in the box, and that's sometimes you get goals from that. We saw
yeah,
that twice today. You know,
yeah,
he put in two good crosses. One of them didn't land, but that's how Lindelof's goal came in. He
yeah,
drilled it down. The defender
yeah,
scrambled. Somebody hit it, and easy goal for Lindelof. So I think that's one part of his game that he's improved that he needs to just keep doing. Just whip crosses. Garnacho, what makes him look better than Rashford sometimes, if you pay attention, is the crosses he puts in.
Yeah.
He puts the ball in dangerous
Yeah,
places,
no,
and then something happens, and you're like, man, you remember that. You're like, he's impacting the game. But Rashford also always wants to take on a player, which is what we know him
yeah.
for. But if it's
Yeah.
not working,
Yeah.
throw a cross in.
Yeah, that's why I think that dropping Anthony was the biggest thing we could have done, you know.
Yeah,
He did not, his last option was to cross. So putting Rashford on the right, where he's more comfortable on his right foot, where he can cross it in easily, has
Mhm.
hmm
been big. And then Garnacho on the left, where he could cut in, put it into the box.
yep,
I think that combo was just perfect, honestly.
No,
yeah,
I agree. I think um I don't know. I feel like the reason I'm saying I'm worried is because they shifted Ganacho. Anthony needed to come out from that team, right? So
Mhm.
are you gonna bring in a direct replacement in Palestri? But he opted to bring in Ganacho because Ganacho has been playing well and bring him to the left and shift Rashford to the right. And I think that helps because now, right, on both wingers, you're having productivity. There's
yeah,
like you look at our heat map, you're gonna have a little bit more action on the right and then on the left. But when Anthony's there as well, there's nothing really going on over there. So
yeah,
I think with the switch and Ganacho helps, but Rashford is still better on the left.
yeah. He's still
You
gonna.
notice when they switched him when he switched back on the left, he started to have more of a threat going forward. When he's on the right, he's there. He's looking for the pass. He's looking for the right back to overlap or to
Yeah,
cut inside, and maybe to cross. But you don't get that threat from Rashford if you put him on that right. He's
yeah.
better on
The goal scoring
that.
is kind of eliminated in that point. I see what you're saying.
Exactly. Exactly. And right now, like our team is really built for him to score goals. I mean, if we want to be completely honest, like we really like Rashford is the one we look for to score goals. Yes, it should be Hoyland, and I think the team is trying to get it to Hoyland, but I don't know if I was saying this in this one or the earlier one where like we struggle to get the ball to give Hoyland the type of chance he needs to score.
True,
Every
true.
time we give it to him, he's fighting with the defenders.
Yeah,
So it really falls on Rashford to be that goal scoring threat.
yeah. Because that creates space for Hoyland to feed off of
Exactly.
like rebounds, scraps, or even the cutbacks or anything, things like that. I
Exactly.
can see that. I can see that. I mean, overall, the creativity has been a challenge this season. I think we've seen a massive dip in creativity from the team as a overall, like
Yeah.
combinations, and I think the best, to be very honest, the best combinations of play we've had has been against Copenhagen. Even though we lost that game, that was by far one of the best overall team performances up until 2-0 before the red card.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to that game, but like we saw what Hoyland is capable of doing once you have fluid football. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's space, and he's running into it, and it's one time. But when you start sitting back and you're not able to bait the opponents, it becomes like you said, a physical matchup for him and every defender.
But let me say on this game though, like well, how did you feel about just our team performance? Like how did you feel about us moving the ball forward, creating chances? Like what did you see today that impressed you in for United and Ten Hag?
So I would say in fact, this is a good point, a good question. And I was thinking about this after the game that Ten Hag seems to be trying to find solutions no matter what. And that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons why I back him a lot compared to like other managers or other people who say Ten Hag out. He's always finding solutions. It's never an excuse. You have Evans, you have Maguire, he'll find a solution. He'll try to make it work. Now he has Maguire, Lindelof, he's still trying to find solutions. So I think who would have thought that McTominay would have played number 6 role, full 90 minutes. Yes, your boy, and you backed McTominay,
Yeah.
and I've always, to be honest, I haven't been the best or the biggest McTominay fan, but to tell you that Erik ten Hag is always finding solutions, he's making it work. McTominay, Eriksson. I mean, if you look at that midfield, you should be scared. You'll be like, man, this looks a little bit too open, but clean sheet.
Yeah.
Last game we scored 2 goals. This game we scored one, and we kept it clean. And he's growing into the role. I'm not saying he's like our best, but right now he's doing a job. So
I
overall,
agree.
yeah, overall team performance, I think it was steady. It was steady. We moved the ball a little faster than usual,
Yeah.
and we found some solutions, and defensively we look solid today. I didn't see any scares per se.
What you saying, bro?
Yeah, I agree, man. Solid game plan. The biggest thing for me was the wide players were wide, like
Yeah,
they were on the touch, like they were wide. So if we needed to switch the play, they were there. And then you get the ball going, and then you switch the play again. You find an opening. Patience was a big thing. Um, but yeah, no, I think it was a solid performance. It was one of our better performances this season, man. Like, yeah,
if you
100%.
if you had to say like looking at we had a good performance in Copenhagen. We now have a good performance in against Luton. What are you looking for United to improve for next game and looking forward to the continuing the season in your perspective?
That's easy. I think it's end productivity, man. Like getting that ball into the net, getting it on target is a big thing. Like we barely tested the keeper. Like there
Yeah,
was Garnacho barely tested the keeper. I don't think he did.
no,
Like ball was going over the
chances.
net, ball was going over the post.
Yeah,
You gotta just shoot at the keeper, man. Rebounds there, Hoyland's there.
Yep, yep,
So that's like the big thing.
yeah. But
yeah.
mom, how did you feel about a couple key players today? How do you feel about Maguire playing, and also how do you feel about Bruno Fernandes as well? Because both of these players have come in for heavy criticism in the
Yeah.
past couple of games. So what did you think
I mean,
today?
Maguire has been probably the biggest shocker for me. From I don't want to be negative. I don't want to sound negative. I mean, because we know Maguire sometimes can have his tendencies, but right now he's been informed. Like one of the things that I want to see from a defender is knowing when to step up and close a gap versus back off. And I think Maguire has been doing an excellent job, even if it's a foul, but you're stopping the play and it's a professional foul. You're not getting a yellow card or anything like that. So he's been doing those things, like making good decisions, stepping up. So I just hope he can like keep it up. But right now he's been one of our best defenders, like hands down. If he adds maybe some more aerial threat on the other side, then we're golden. And Bruno Fernandes, speaking of him, is like we need Bruno. Like no matter for me, Bruno, no matter how annoying he gets, no matter what all his antics and stuff, we need Bruno. His work rate, his ability to like just be a threat at any point in time of the game
Yeah,
is something we need. Because Bruno is one of those players where the moment you take him out of the team, you can feel the difference. He initiates the press. He's always trying to he's always running back, trying to fight the ball. Him and Mount pretty much have like a very similar role, especially except Bruno is probably more gel in with the team. Like he
yeah,
can,
I see what you're saying. I see
but
what you're saying.
their work rate is like Mount today. Shout out to Mount when he came in today. Shout out to him. No, honestly, there was a couple recoveries he made that were like superb. Like I'm thinking about if Ericsson was there, he would never get to that ball.
Okay.
And that could have been a goal. Like I think someone lost the ball, or he lost the ball. He
Yeah, he
ran,
lost the ball. Yeah.
the ball back, no foul, and then progressed the play. So he'll get there. So I know that he
So
wasn't part of the
on
question.
the Mason Mount, because me and Brohan had a quick review after too, and he mentioned the same thing in terms of recoveries, right?
Yeah.
So how are you looking at Mason Mount in this team? Is it gonna be Mount in midfield with like a McTominay or a Casemiro, or is it gonna be like how are you how about this for both of you guys? Like, how are you seeing Mount's role in that team?
I'll let Burhan answer that first.
I don't know, man. Mount, ever since we signed him, I was always confused about how he's gonna fit into the team with a Bruno there. So I mean, it's tough, but honestly, I want to see more of Mount instead of Ericsson, just because Ericsson, man, he doesn't have much left in the tank. He's done after 60 minutes, as I said before, and I just want to see more of Mount in that Ericsson role. Give him more chance, give him more game time, and I think we'll see something good from him.
And the reason and Mom, you can go to type. The reason I'm asking this, right? Because when he came on in the first half, I didn't really see Mount have that much possession in the ball. Like I didn't even see him like he was non-existent in the first half. Maybe one or two recoveries, but or at least press, not even recoveries, press, yes. But I didn't really see him in the game. In the second half, I felt like he was like his recovery runs were a lot better. He was busy again. But the reason I'm asking is that I feel like Mount's best qualities attacking going forward. And today he was playing that the role McTominay played in the first half, which is really like a second striker, you know. But I still didn't feel like he was in the game in an attacking sense from what I wanted, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one with Mount because his attributes do not fit a number 8 or a number 6.
Yeah,
He has more of an attacking
number
attribute.
10
Yeah,
position.
you can see he wants to run forward. He
Yeah,
wants to shoot. His instincts, everything about him looks like he wants to attack and be, in the forefront.
yeah.
You know, but I think right now it's just a matter of finding that balance, and I think that's what Ten Hag's trying to do. I feel like the team in general, they just gotta find the balance. And Mount, I like his role right now in place of Ericsson, just because of the energy level. That's the main thing for me. His energy levels are high, and he helps us recover balls. Whereas Ericsson would give you great control of the game, but if he loses the ball on the counter, Ericsson is not your guy to chase back the
And it
strike.
happened a couple of times today where he lost the ball
Yeah.
and he really recovered.
Exactly. And Ericsson doesn't do that very well. Ericsson will just stab a leg out and then try to chase. He's just getting older. It's not in the tank. It's not in the tank anymore. So I'll definitely take Mount in that position.
And one thing I was really looking forward to was I wanted to really see Kobe Manu give some minutes, man.
Yeah,
But
man, I don't know what's going
the way
on.
the game went,
Yeah.
there was no way he could really get some minutes.
Yeah, it's my guy. I don't know what's happening with Kobe, man.
Yeah, I really wanted him to get some minutes. And I hope with the next game, Ten Hag just has to trust him, man. You
Yeah.
just gotta trust. You gotta trust that he's gonna be good.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree.
You
I think
gotta cover Memphis. BK said recovery balls. Pause, bro. Listen, bro. Don't worry about us right now, man. Macy Mount is coming. But Jide, man, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain.
Yeah, well, we were just talking about the reviews of the post match, man. So far, I'm hearing praises for Mount. I'm hearing praises for Bruno Fernandes, which I'm very happy about. Even Maguire's getting praises now, man, from the guys. So 1-0, Victor Lindelof, the Swedish god, the best Scandinavian player in Manchester, won the game for us. How are you feeling, my brother?
I'm glad there's a clean sheet, and I'm glad that we got the victory. It wasn't pretty, but we should have, scored too many chances. So I'm okay with it. I'm just glad we got the victory before the international break. It would
Yeah.
have been insane if we had not got it. So I'm
Yeah,
just happy.
less media talk too. Less pressure on Ten Hag, man. That's the media will have something else to talk about and not Man United for once in a while.
Exactly. Who was someone that really impressed you?
Maguire,
Maguire?
man of the match in my mind. He was just so
I'm mad
confident,
at
the
that.
passing, he was phenomenal.
I'm not mad at
So
that. I
yeah.
feel like he had a lot of switches today from Garnacho to Rashford. I even saw him one time running, bumming forward on the left hand side, being like the attacking, not even the fullback, a winger at that point. And I think it's a big. Personally, I asked this to Bohan, sorry, earlier, and he was telling me that there might be some is there an issue with Ten Hag and Varane. Personally, I think it's Ten Hag's philosophy. If you're playing well,
Exactly.
Yep.
you stay on the pitch.
Totally.
Exactly.
You remember when Casemiro first came on? McTominay had
Exactly.
Casemiro on the bench.
Yep.
Everybody's like, you bought Casemiro. Why are you not playing him? No, McTominay's playing well. When
Mhm.
McTominay started dipping performance and like Casemiro came in and playing well, Casemiro kept his position.
Yep. He rewards
Someone
performance.
else. I forgot who else did he keep on the bench. Even Mount. Like Mount, I think he want to play Mount. He wants to play Mount. But right now, he's not playing well right now. So I think it's the same thing with Varane. Personally, if you ask me, I don't think there's no issue. I think it's just that Maguire was on the bench last season. You were playing well, Varane. You've been injured. You've had a couple shaky moments. You got to stay on the bench. So, yeah, what's a quick one you got to say, Jede, on
Oh
that?
no, I agree exactly. I was about to say exactly what you just said. Like, there's no issue. It's just if you're playing well, he'll give you your shirt, and you have to do something to lose it, or someone has to take it from you, and
Yep.
then it's just. So I'm glad with the philosophy. I think Mount is a bit shaky, but I'm happy that that he's doing it that way. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Bohan, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to agree, man. I mean, you can't you cannot play Maguire after the performance he's been putting up. He's been solid. We're getting clean sheets. Um, Not much more you could ask for, man. But I'm just always gonna be sketched out about that midfield where it's Ericsson, McTominay, I don't know. It's definitely not good enough for the future. We need to sort that out quickly. I think we need to sort out Ericsson quickly. I don't know what's going on with that. So yeah, I don't know what the solution's gonna be, but yeah.
Yeah, no. I think it's I like it that way. I like the fact that, as a manager, as a player, that when your manager says who plays well is going to keep his position actually happens. I think if you see the only person I think he has a favorite is Anthony, right? I think Anthony is the only one that kind of gets favoritism, that always kind of gets a chance. Let me read some of the comments.
I mean, this is a good sign that he got dropped this game.
Yeah.
You should. But we got
I
Memphis.
think he should have been dropped a long time ago, though.
I agree. BK said, talk about the real issue. Why isn't Rashford scoring this season? So far after 11 games, need more than one goal. That's a fair comment. He's saying system change to help him. So basically, he has to change the system to help him. Rashford, I don't know. Then he said Varane showed Ten Hag his medals. How do y'all feel in that comment? Do you feel like United needs to change the system to accommodate Rashford?
No,
No, I think no.
No, I think honestly, I would have benched Rashford a while ago, but that was just me. But I mean, his performances were not up there. And if we're going by Ten Hag's philosophy, like if he's a man of his, not a man of his word, but if he is true to his philosophy, if you're not performing, somebody else has to take that spot, right? But yeah. I guess maybe no one has shown enough quality for him to say definitively, sit down. I'll bring this other person in. Garnacho. Yeah. Maybe Anthony was poor, so he switched Anthony and put Rashford on the right. But I think we have to stick to this philosophy. You can see now we're actually playing from the back more, better. We've been kind of playing a lot of long balls in the past few games. Before this past run of games, we used to long ball, send the ball wide and long. But recently we've been playing better from the back. So I think we keep this philosophy. We maintain this McTominay in the middle for now until we find a better solution. I'm happy with it right now. I don't think we should change the system.
No, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, honestly, yeah,
100%. I think. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, my bad. I was gonna say, yeah, I agree, man, because I think there's a couple things with Rashford. One, he's lacking the confidence. And two, I don't think you could change the whole system just for Rashford. You look at all these players back in the day. Like, you look at Rooney, for example. That's like a prime example. He used to play everywhere on the pitch and he used to perform. He used to perform. So it's just Rashford's got to get his hand in the game, man, and just step up now, build that confidence, score a couple goals, and just get into it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, he needs to step up, man. And I think that's part of. You want to be the big man. You want to be the man of the team. You want to be the player that scores the goal. This is the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, he needs to. I think one thing that I want to put it more on Rashford and Ten Hag and change the system is look at Garnacho, bro. Look at Garnacho. He came in today. Yeah, I think Garnacho is probably better at. Okay, let me ask this question. Let me know. Who's a better dribbler, Garnacho or Rashford?
It's tough.
I've just been seeing more energy from Garnacho in the sense of going forward, those step overs that he's doing and then getting in and out between the defenders. But that is a tough question. Overall, yeah.
So if you look at the thing is, Garnacho hasn't played enough for us to see to compare him to Rashford. But if you look at who can find a solution in a tight space, Garnacho can go right or left. Whereas Rashford, his main dribble is he'll do step overs, but like if he baits you left, he's most likely gonna try to go right. Garnacho doesn't matter. He can go right. If you block it, he'll go left. Remember the goal he assisted when he turned to his left and swung his foot like last minute?
Yeah. I remember.
So
I agree. I agree with you, and I think it's slightly more Garnacho. And the point I was trying to get to is that at least Garnacho he keeps going. He keeps going. He keeps going trying to beat this player. And again, he's young. He's playing on time. But Rashford, something, man, when he plays on the left, when the game is not really going for him, he just kind of like you can see it just goes down like this. It starts to go down like this. Like he normally doesn't pick himself up. Where I feel like Garnacho is always like Bohan is saying, like he has more energy. He's going at it. And that might just be because he's young. He hasn't a lot of games. He's looking to prove, where Rashford feels a bit more established and maybe the pressure's on him.
yeah,
But he needs to fix that. So BK said again in the comments, when Casemiro comes back, does he play with McTominay or replace McTominay?
man, that's tough. Because when Casemiro and McTominay hides when we're setting up. Why? Because one, Casemiro tends to go ask for the ball more and be in that receiver role, and McTominay isn't a good creative player.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have them two together, you need one of them to be like more creative, which is why right now it's working because with Casemiro and Eriksen, because not Casemiro, I mean McTominay and Eriksen, because Eriksen is that outlet. He's like that second pass, like he can distribute. McTominay can have time to find the ball or just be in a defensive role. But him and Casemiro, unless you play him as a box to box, give him license to go forward.
Yeah,
it doesn't really work. He hides. He gets like very low touches, like passes. We've seen his stats. I've seen some stat where him and Casemiro together, or even before, it doesn't matter. I mean, the first few games when he played, he had the less number of passes in the whole team almost every game.
McTominay, right?
McTominay, the least number of passes. Yep.
But what are you saying? Casemiro comes back. Is he playing with McTominay or is he replacing McTominay?
Man, honestly, no disrespect to Casemiro, but when he was playing, he was making a lot of mistakes. I don't know if it's the age that's getting to him, or so he can't keep up with the Prem. But I think we just need a replacement for Casemiro, anyways. We need a whole replacement in that midfield. We need somebody younger. We need somebody quicker.
Yeah.
We need a better defensive-minded player. So Casemiro is never going to be a solution to me. He was a one-year solution, yeah, but I think it was a bad decision just bringing him in. We need someone long-term.
Now, I agree with you saying 100%. I think that, I think if Ten Hag is following his philosophy again, I think Casemiro is just going to be like Varane. I think Casemiro needs to work his way back into the team. I think if he plays to the level that Casemiro plays in, then his reintegration to the team will be a lot faster than what Varane is going through. But the reason McTominay is playing is none of the other midfielders are taking his position when they get their chance. Pure and simple. Like, I don't think McTominay is playing because he's the best midfielder Man United has. I think he's playing because he's showing that he still offers a threat more than the other midfielders. Like, again, Mason Mount, I think he had a good contribution going, defending, back, running recovery runs. And I think he still needs more game time to just get back his match fitness because he's been out for a while. He hasn't really had that rhythm. So I think it's unfair to him. But I think McTominay right now is offering more to the team than all the other midfielders. And as long as that's the case, Ten Hag has shown that he's willing to show faith with those type of players. Hence why Varane is not on the bench. Now, he does say this thing where he likes to play on the left, and I think he doesn't like Maguire on that left, and I don't think he also likes Varane on that left. So that's kind of like they're giving him that excuse to not play them. But if you are playing well enough, just like Garnacho and Rashford, I don't think anybody likes Rashford on the left. Just like he doesn't like Maguire on the left, I don't think he likes Rashford on the right. But for as long as these players keep playing this way, he's gonna have to play the players that have an impact. Yeah. That's just my opinion. And let me get to the comments again. Memphis said 60 million for a 1 year money Chester. Money Chester. Listen, Casemiro, I agree that Casemiro is not we need to replace him 100%. But I still think that if we have enough quality players in around that squad, Casemiro can have an impact personally, right? And I think that, yes, we need to replace him looking forward, that we need to replace a lot of people in that midfield. We still have Donny van der Beek in that midfield. You know what I'm saying? And like, I want to see the
Unlike Bunny.
yeah, but he's still there. You know what I'm saying? Like people forget that. No, Van
Yeah,
der Beek is still in the team.
that's
You know,
correct.
so we need to replace him. Kobe Manu. Hopefully, the game. I would have liked to see more minutes to build him up again. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's coming. So the Casemiro thing. Don't watch that, BK.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching. I think to begin with, I was reading an article from the Athletic, and they were just talking about they went in on John Murtaugh on like how United spending hasn't been the smartest because you're buying Casemiro for 60 million on a 350,000 pound per week contract for 4 years. He has a 4 year contract, brother. I don't know if y'all know.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, Casemiro's not a 2 year contract,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's like those are the kind of things that kill United and makes it hard for us to find replacements. Makes it
yeah,
hard for us to like find solutions to our problems. Because who's gonna buy Casemiro at that wage? Nobody's
yeah,
gonna. Nobody, no team in the world except Saudi will pay
yeah,
Casemiro.
Sally, let's hope they pull in.
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
We need
So I'm
Sally to
hoping
come
Saudi
in.
comes to rescue, man. You know what I'm saying? Oil money, please come through, oil money. You know, we
Nah, we
need.
need that. But not only that, it's like even if they give us the money, we need to replace him with quality, not just by.
Quality.
Bro,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm about bro.
Yeah, he not doing what he got to do, man. I don't know what's going on.
That's not playing. I'm right now, bro. I'm not. I'm just saying, like right now, bro. I'm reserving a taxi for him to the airport. That's what I'm saying. I got a taxi reservation to pick him up at the
Yeah.
end of the season to pick him up and take him back. That's
I
all I'm
think
saying. I can cancel the reservation. Don't worry, we can cancel it. But right now, there is a reservation to take him back to the airport.
which
So
looking back now, I'm actually not mad about the fact that it's a loan. You know
yeah,
what I'm
hey,
saying?
same,
Yeah.
yeah,
At
same.
first I was mad, but now I'm like, okay, good
Uh,
decision, you know.
let's give it some time. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Yeah,
see.
my guy, you might have to go. And
Yeah.
Hussein said we're still talking about Rashford stepping up. He's been in the first team for damn near 8 years now. This is just his level. Same can be said about Martial. A serious team wouldn't consistently rely on we wouldn't consistently rely on them, Martial and Rashford. That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's fair. I can't
That's
disagree.
fair. Kante, you're 100% right. You're 100% right, bro. I think the Rashford thing, and this personally, this is just my opinion, right? I think Rashford is a good player and good enough to be in our squad. Not everybody has to be world class Ballon d'Or level, like every year, week in, week out. I don't think that. But I think the problem is our team is so bad, right? Right now, as a squad, we are playing horribly. We
Yeah.
have players that are not helping the squad again to where it never helps Rashford. Like we always depend on Rashford to pull out spectacular performances.
Mhm.
Rashford not Ronaldo, bro. Ronaldo, bro. He's not someone that's gonna constantly week in, week out give you a 9 out of 10 in performance level. That's
But
not gonna happen, bro.
so here's my thing about Rashford right now. I'm confused about Rashford. Why? It's because it's not like he's injured, right? Last time we used to say, oh, his shoulder was this and that. Bro, Rashford doesn't jump for headers. The one time he jumped for headers today, he got hurt. Yeah, and he
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
oh. And then
That
the other thing
sneak
is,
it, bro. Fuck you.
yeah, other thing is on the final third, I'm okay with Rashford. Step over, move to the right, take a shot, even if it's on target, even if it's not a goal. But he's not even doing any of that. He's just
Yeah,
stopping the play, looking to try, trying to be a defender, but the defender doesn't move, he plays it back. Like take on players, try a shot. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Create
I think
something.
it's just mostly sorry. My bad.
No, yeah, no, go
I
ahead.
was just saying I think it's mostly just the social media that's affected him, which is bad. Like as a professional player, you should not let that affect you.
You shouldn't. Yeah.
Before he was taking shots, he was taking on players. After that, he's been hesitant over everything. Like as simple as like a shot you should be taking, he doesn't take anymore. But I
Mhm.
just think that the fact that we know that Rashford is a threat when he is on form, is a reason why he's still in the squad because we have so many other places we have to improve on
Mhm.
that we can't spend money. We can't go and put money into the market for another player like Rashford, another left wing, you know. We have other places we have to improve on. So I think Rashford stays, to be honest.
He needs to stick on players. Like you watch players like, and I don't want to compare him, but like you watch players like Vinny Jr. Every ball they get, their mentality is, I'm gonna kill this defender. You know, like I will take this guy
Yeah.
and I will
Which
destroy.
Ganacho is. That's how Ganacho thinks,
How
though.
Garnacho is, but
Yeah.
Rashford is like he tries. For him, it's more like I'm not having the environment I want right now because defender's not giving me what I want, so I'm not gonna try anything harder. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna play it back. Whereas no, be creative. You're fast. He's faster than most defenders.
Yeah.
You know, he's skillful. I don't know what's going on, man. I mean, there's this thing about his brother in the US who got released, arrested,
Yeah.
family issues. So maybe, hey, who knows? Maybe that's playing on his mind.
Kante. So what I'm hearing from Kante is not having Rashford, man. From what he's saying, I don't think he's having Rashford. Let me read some of the comments. BK said, "Don't you mean Andrew Tate?" I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Then he says, "Yeah, to what you're saying, you're wrong. You need one player to be a Ballon d'Or guy, and the prem and money he's got, he's on. I guess he's talking about the money Rash is on." And he said, so who's Man United main man? Because for Saka, for Arsenal, it's Saka. Our main man, honestly, our main man is Højlund. I'm not lying. Man United's main man right now is Højlund.
I know BK is
That is-
laughing right now. BK is cracking up right now.
It's the truth.
Gonna be
Højlund
like,
is our main man.
yeah. Well,
Because if you look at, I mean, in terms of the person that's supposed to be winning us games and everything, I mean, I could say I think Man United's best player or world-class player is Bruno Fernandes. That's just my opinion. But main man to get us the goals, win us the games is Højlund. I think they're building the team for it to be Højlund. I just think Højlund right now needs to learn how to be the main man and embrace that responsibility, right? Because today I saw some moments where especially him and Rash was on the right with Rashford, and Rash has the ball. He's not going in to get the ball. He's kind of still playing for other people to go in. He's still trying to like play with the team. Nah, like he needs to be like, I'm giving you the ball and I'm going to score the goal. Like my job here is to score the goals. I'm not here. Yeah, I can help play in the link, hold up defenders, bring up the team well. But when they're building up play, he needs to let the people let the wingers, midfielders do that. My job is here to score the goals, and I think he hasn't embraced that properly just yet. You know, that's just my opinion. I think the way Ten Hag plays, your striker will always be interlinking with your midfield and your wingers, always. But he still needs to embrace that responsibility that it's my job to win us the game. I think he is, but not at the level that I need him for. So to answer Bika's question, who's the main man for Man United? And I'll let everyone here answer for themselves. For me, it's Højlund. You know?
I'll jump in. I think that's a fair shout, but I think Højlund is a bit too young and inexperienced to put that demand on him to be the main guy. I think we need to look at him as someone who's going to get us important goals and who needs to get goals. But you can't shirk responsibility. The main man is Bruno Fernandes. You know, he's our captain. He's our most experienced player. He plays 90 minutes almost every single game. He takes almost all our set pieces. He takes our penalties. Bruno Fernandes is the guy, right? Now, what I want to say, though, is I think Højlund needs to be, to your point, a little bit more barrel-chested and sort of demand more from Rashford in terms of service and in terms of, you know, linking together. And I think Rashford has been trying, but I think right now Rashford is still carrying himself as, I'm the guy. How dare Ten Hag move me from left wing and put me on right wing? How dare Ten Hag, make build the team around Højlund and make me the supplier to the system. You know, I think Rashford is going through that mentality, shift. And I think Højlund needs to sort of pay back Ten Hag's trust by
Yeah.
saying, no, this is why I'm scoring 2 goals a game. I'm hustling, I'm running, I'm, doing all that kind of stuff. So, I think Bruno's the main guy. Højlund is, has to be important, but I think, we can't just say, oh, it's like saying who's the most important midfielder at Man United? Oh, Kobe Mainoo. It's like we shouldn't put that sort of like pressure on them, but at the same time, you are a starting striker for Man United, so there are like just built-in demands. But I think if we lose a game, I don't think we should be looking at Højlund saying, "Why didn't you bail us out?" I think we should be looking at Bruno Fernandes and saying, "Yo, it's time, close." So that's just my opinion. I don't know if anyone else, wants to take.
I think I agree with you, Jide. I mean, it definitely, Højlund is a little too early. We have to see him first. He has to be earning that kind of money too.
Yeah, that is
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like as a main man, the pockets gotta be supplied the same way, for the team to put you at that kind of at that pedestal. I think the problem with Rashford, like Jide is saying, is he's earning that kind of money. He has that status in United. He's from the academy. He's won some few things, and he was our best player last season. I mean, he was our highest goal scorer. I wouldn't say best player because that's kind of he wasn't having great games, but he was scoring a scoring machine. So I think Rashford has built himself up to that pedestal, and we all look to him. We're thinking, hey, last season you scored 30 something goals or 20 something goals. We expect you to go forward from that. You know what I mean? But to your point, yeah, I think that shift has to happen where it goes from Rashford to now we have a striker. Because last year we didn't have a striker. We had Weghorst. We didn't have Martial fit. So it was understandable that Rashford was the next guy. Right now, it's supposed to be back to basis. Your striker is your primary source of goals, and then your wingers can contribute, and then your midfielders can contribute, and then your defenders in the pecking order.
Yeah. Ron, what you saying? Main right now.
I'm staying with Bruno. I'm staying with Bruno. Without Bruno, that team's a disaster.
Yeah.
That team is not gonna get top 10 like without Bruno. He's the one that links everything together. He's the one that brings opportunities, and I think for me, the main man's always Bruno.
Hey, I was going to ask something though. Like, do you think the reason why we haven't seen probably the best of the best from Bruno is due to this new system where with Ten Hag, it's not about playing risky passes rather than creating good chances? Because Bruno's at his best if he's given license to just be creative and pass anyhow he wants. That way, it's not like he's spamming, but he creates opportunities by taking so many risks. Whereas with Ten Hag's system, the risk level is more, Ten Hag is more risk averse.
He's spamming actually. He's spamming.
Yeah, still compared to back then.
No. I mean, when you said he's creating, I'm like, no, you're right. Initially, he does spam, and I feel like every time someone's like, "Oh, Bruno's created the most chances in the league" or something like that, I'm always like, what are the underlying stats? What is his chance conversion? How many big chances has he tried to create versus ones that were successful? I want to see those numbers because if you use cumulative stats, just someone who has higher usage rates is going to be at the top of that, versus what is the quality of the chance. However, what I do want to say is I actually think Ten Hag is more risk forward than Ole, and that is why Bruno can't afford to be giving away the ball that easily and spamming crosses, because the way we play a high line, the way we press, it's very aggressive, very man-to-man. And so if we are in a situation where we're throwing people forward, everyone's joining the attack, and then Bruno tries like a 50-yard pass, goes to their left back, all of a sudden counter-attack, we're brutal. So I think it's similar with Pep. When you have a possession-based team, the reason why Pep's teams, which no one ever talks about, do a lot of tactical fouls is because that's their form of defending against a potentially fragile, or not fragile, but where the weakness lies in that thing. We have a break, let's kill the game. They don't like transitions. Pep hates transitions in terms of he wants to have the ball, he wants to have control, and when a game is end to end, that's probably when he shits and bricks the most, right? So the sort of Bruno, playing all these passes comes from the fact of having to mature and play more simpler passes, comes from the fact that he needs to realize the sort of position and state of his own team, and why it's advisable to just keep the ball ticking versus trying to spam that cross. Wait until that pass is available and then you play it. So I think Bruno has to mature a lot, and he has, and he's shown that he can. But I think it's one of those, like, you're trying to retrain a rabid dog where he's used to just but in reality you just like, yo, chill, play the ball, play the pass. I think the game against, what was it? Was it Brentford where McTominay scored the last minute goal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Bruno about to, like, spam a ball, and he sort of like stopped, and then he just passed the ball out wide and sort of almost, gave like okay, I'll pass it here. And through that attack, we scored a goal. It was McTominay's first goal. And I was like, thank goodness Bruno just passed that ball, because if he had just, done one of his, kicks again, the chance dies. So I think there's a demand on Bruno to just be a better leader, and play more patient. And that's what Ten Hag's system is sort of forcing him to do. I think the issue with our team is just synergy. It's like everything's a little bit reactive, everything's a little bit just that 1 second late. When someone plays a pass, it's on the back foot, and all of a sudden all the momentum was going forward. It's now just like stopped a little bit, and the defense regroups. Whereas City, the ball is always at the right place, right time, and everything's just flowing in one direction. And I think that's where we need to improve, is like, it's just the attention to detail of, like, no, Maguire, if I'm passing the ball to Reguilon, why is Reguilon checking back to receive my ball? Why is the ball dragging behind him? It should be going to his strong foot in stride, And I think that's once we get those tiny details, because if you look at it, like, look at every sort of league, that we've won, or every game we've won in the past, a lot of it literally comes down to one singular moment of
It's details, man. It's the finest
details. So you can be like one of the best teams in the world, but if your details aren't on point, you're going to be so far from the best team in the world. Like, the difference between us and Man City isn't, of course it's huge, but isn't the fact that on any given day we can't compete with them. The issue is that they're able to pound down those details every single time, whereas ours is like 80% of the time, 70% of the time. And in the long run, that just, the angles, right? When it starts off tiny, 1 degree, if you drag it on to, to a long time, it becomes really big. So I think that's the difference.
And to that point, like, if you were to compare like someone like Dalot and Walker, the only thing Walker has on Dalot is speed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has tremendous quality and anything. No, but Walker has understands Pep's football and the details to the T. Whereas Dalot is more technically gifted than Walker, but that synergy that you're talking about is missing. So those little mistakes, they get amplified, because especially at the top level, and you concede, and you start losing games. And I totally agree with that point. Totally.
Yeah. And the thing is, I used to call Walker a bonehead. I thought that guy was one of the dumbest players that ever played, like, in football when he was at Tottenham, because the guy would always get red cards. The guy would always lose his man behind and just like try to sprint to win the ball. But Pep came in and literally retrained that man's head. And now he's honestly just doesn't put a foot wrong.
He's efficient. He's super efficient.
So efficient. So efficient. It's actually insane. I honestly thought that Walker was going to be like one of those, what's his name? Aurier, those type of people who just have no sense, But he's changed his game. I still don't think he's that good in terms of, like, I think he can get caught out a little bit, but he's minimized his mistakes so much that, whenever you're like going against Walker, you're kind of like, it's going to be a long day. We got to go 2-2 against him, So I think the details is where we're lacking, and it's where we're going to see the biggest differences. Look at Arsenal versus Man United. A centimeter was the difference between us winning that game and having confidence going to the rest of the season with Garnacho's goal versus United in crisis. Literally, these are the details. So we should never get too, what is going on? This
Yeah.
is so bad, and we shouldn't get too elated. Obviously, I get really happy when we win. I'm always like,
Yeah.
But it's fine details, and if we just get consistency, that's the only way we can challenge.
I think the big thing with Bruno, right, to kind of get back to that, and I agree with everything you guys are saying, and I've noticed a big change in him. But I also think that we're asking him to play a type of football that's not his type of play. Like Bruno's not a central midfielder grabbing the ball, making the passes, and we're sometimes looking forward to him to be keeping the possession, um, creating chances. That's not what Bruno does. Like if you look at that season under Oli, and this is where Bruno really comes alive and he becomes because there's a comment over here that's questioning if Bruno's world class, where he is that world class player. If he's in that final third, he's either scoring a goal or making that final pass that will give the forward to score the goal. But when he's always running back, grabbing the ball, having to grab the ball, progress the team forward, that's not his game. He's not a very neat and tidy player. That's what Ericsson does, right? And if you look at last season when we went on that run, that's what Ericsson, Casemiro, and Bruno were playing well, where you had Ericsson who was grabbing the ball from the defenders, passing it, him or Bruno making a one-touch move forward. And then where I was calling him the pre-assister, because if you notice, he's always the one making that difficult pass.
Well involved in every goal.
Exactly. So if you look at that Copenhagen goal with the Højlund scored, Bruno's the one that made the switch. Like that's what he does. And I feel like we're missing that Ericsson player. We're missing someone, a younger Ericsson, really. And I feel like once we have that player, who's going to be progressing the ball, who's going to hold more possession, have the possession stats, making the successful passes. Once we have that guy, I feel like then you could see Bruno really come to life. And he's not going to be as rapid as much because hopefully he doesn't have as much touches versus that whoever's the center midfielder is. And I think in Ten Hag's type of football, we're missing that. We're missing that. So Bruno is having to do a lot more, and he has that pressure on him. I think everybody wants to do it, and that's why when people are questioning, like, are the players want to do it? Do they fighting for the badge? Are they giving up a Ten Hag? Absolutely not. I don't see that. I see players actually doing a lot more. Like today, one thing that was noticeable in the game, like I felt like we were patient. We weren't, and I think it's because we know it's Luton town. We were calm. We believed in our own ability. There was a lot more patience in progressing the ball. There wasn't that rush to like, oh, we got to get it forward. We recycled the ball. When we go to the left, there's nothing there. We went back to the midfield. We switched it back to the right. We tried to go. We were patient. And I feel like once we have a team that can contain possession and cycle the team, I think you see the best out of Højlund, you see the best out of Rashford, you see the best out of Bruno as well, personally,
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think there is a demand on Bruno to do a lot in the system. But I think generally speaking, Ten Hag systems demand a lot from the players because everyone's always rotating positions. And so you're always responsible for doing something else outside of your technical specialty.
Okay.
But your point is noted that if we get a controller, someone who can dictate play in the first phase of the game into the second, getting it to Bruno, I believe that's when we're going to see Bruno come alive, because the more turnovers that we have in possession, which also is partly Bruno's to blame, but if we have it like towards like the deeper turnovers in the deeper areas, what that does is that it forces Bruno to, or just our whole team, to start pressing a lot and running and tracking back and doing all this stuff, versus when you're with the ball, it's a lot more calm. You hold on to your energy a little bit more. And so when you have people who can't keep the ball sustained in that first phase of build up, a second phase of build up, Bruno ends up getting more tired, or our whole team ends up getting more tired throughout the whole game. And so you start to see fatigue set in, and Bruno making what you call tired passes, where the right football thing to do is to take the ball, drive with it, and then lay it off to someone. But because you're tired, you're like, I see Rashford in the far corner. Let me hit this sexy pass. And he hits it, and you're like, well, if it works and you're Paul Scholes, hit that ball. But if you're not Paul Scholes, don't hit that ball. Pass the ball in, right? So I feel like, to your point, that if we get that like an upgrade of Ericsson in the first phase of build-up, it would free Bruno to to do a lot better. But I would say that we can't take away blame from Bruno a bit, because sometimes I feel there's like a football. He has football intelligence, don't get me wrong. Like, he's a very smart, clever player. But I saw a breakdown that Henri was doing on the Champions League Golasso show with Paramount, right, with Kate Abdo, those guys,
Yeah.
right? And he said that Bruno's positioning in some situations made no sense in the context of the attack, where he would go behind the ball and sort of attract defenders to occupy the space that was available once. And it's like, why didn't you play that ball? So I think sometimes he's not seen it, and I think that comes with what do you call it, repetition of scenarios. Like something Pep, I don't know if you saw what company said about De Bruyne, where he said Eden Hazard, if you give him chaos, he's gonna just like dominate. Whereas Kevin De Bruyne, if you give him a match plan or a game plan and he knows exactly what's expected of him, that's when he'll dominate. And he doesn't really dominate when there's a lot of chaos going on. And I think that's why we see the best of De Bruyne, is because De Bruyne knows 9 out of 10 times, if I'm in this zone and these players are around me, it means X is free and it means this space is free. So I can just play a ball consistently into an area. It doesn't have to be a person. And they're gonna get the ball. We don't have those patterns of repeatability. So Bruno is not always in a scenario where he's like Garnacho's running off, Rashford. And I saw it 2 times last game against Copenhagen for the first goal, when Wan-Bissaka made that curling run away from the ball, and then there was a little bit of interplay, right? It took away, it brought space, and Højlund attacked the space, right? And that was something that Henri pointed out in the show, and it happened again today. Who was it? I think it was Rashford who made. Yeah, something like that. They made that run where they did that sort of curved run towards the corner flag that then created space for the midfielders to operate and to pass. So it's one of those things where I think that's a routine that we're working on like consistently, and it's something that once those things start to happen more consistently, Bruno will have a better read of the situation and be like, okay, this has happened 4 times. If I don't make this pass the 4th time, I'm a moron, and he's not a moron. So I think that's what's missing from our play.
And just go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
So just to add to that point, one of the things that I noticed that we weren't doing before, but we're doing now, looking at the Copenhagen game and our game today, was those patterns of play where you're involving more than just the attackers. So like
exactly.
the goal that Højlund scored when Wan-Bissaka, because in that goal, what happened was Wan-Bissaka overlaps, Rashford comes back, comes forward, gets the ball, plays to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka passes a reverse ball to McTominay, who crosses, right?
Yeah, he made the space for McTominay. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Right. So you see that in the past, and I think these are deliberate instructions to the wingers to like, hey, when the fullback overlaps, put that ball in. Because there's no point in him overlapping and you stop the ball. The only time you should do that is if it's going to be on offside, right? But they did that, they scored. Today, too, I saw the same thing where Rashford did the same thing. He overlapped or underlapped, whichever one. And he put that ball in and we thought it was going to be out, but he made it. He got to the cross.
Right.
There's been countless times where players overlap all the time and the ball just gets stuck. We don't pass. We don't release that ball. Rashford did it again with Mount. Mount made a little, overlapping run, not overlap, but he kind of like ran wide. Rashford played the ball there again. And these are the patterns that drag defenders out of place and create space. So I think we're getting there, and we just need to do more repetition and get used to it. Because even when they do it, it's so unnatural for me to see. Right. I'm like, we don't do this all the time.
Yeah.
So let me read these comments, and I have a question I want to ask you guys again. Kante said again, Bruno world class, yeah. Even Bruno would be confused with that compliment. Our main guy should be Rashford. He's a true United product from the academy and actually has a lot of playing time. Then he also said he's a very good player to our team, but probably still our best signing, I would say, which is fair. And then BK said, buy Emil Smith-Rowe from us for 45 million. He's not going to fit in our team. So then let me
So-
ask you guys this: from both what you guys are saying, that United are missing routines and patterns that the players can pretty much have an automatic playing style, which from what I'm hearing, it's a comment slash criticism at the Ten Hag and his coaching staff.
No,
No, I don't think so.
no.
I don't think
Okay,
so. I
no.
think it's a players thing. I think it's a confidence thing because
Boom.
if
Okay.
if the players are doing it, and I'll let you answer that, G-Day. If the players are doing it, it means the instruction has always been there. Like when players don't do something, I always look at that as an instruction to not do, as opposed to when you do it occasionally, then it means you have the option, but you're not doing it. And now I'm seeing him doing it multiple times. I'm actually recognizing this. I'm like, you guys are doing this multiple times, so you should have been doing this the whole time. You know, another example would be like playing long. Like Ten Hag hates playing long, right? We know that. We know he wants to play it from the back. But then I mean, okay.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're
He
saying, but
prefers to play from the back.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So my thing is he prefers to play from the back. But we saw a significant drop, and I don't have the stats to back what I'm saying, but from just the eye test, right? We've seen a much better improvement from playing from the back than just going long. Go long when you don't have an option. We get that. But there was times where we don't even try to create the option. We don't see the players running wide to create that angle. So I think it's more of a players getting the confidence and trusting each other. Because if I make a run and you don't pass me, that's not a Ten Hag problem. It's a player who didn't pass the ball problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. I think it boils down to maturity, and I think I'm gonna address the comment that happened in context of this. Rashford should be the guy, but he's shown me nothing over the last 2 seasons, including last season, about his mentality that makes me believe that I should put my trust in him. Not to say that he's not going to score goals or whatever. Rashford has always been a player that can create something out of nothing. But his mentality and his attitude on the pitch, his body language, his lack of trying. Can you imagine? And I'll never let this go. Maybe I will if he redeems himself one day. But we had a chance to play Man City in the FA Cup final to stop them from winning our treble. And the ball went in the air, and Rashford looked and watched the City player win it unopposed. Now, when that happens, you automatically disqualify yourself from being someone that I can look at as a leader at Man United, because that is just unacceptable, like with a capital unacceptable, unacceptable. This is Conte, right? So I will say that maturity from Rashford to stop being a selfish player is what's allowing a lot of these patterns to take heed, because Luke Shaw would overlap Rashford a ton of times, and a lot of times Rashford would not pass to him and would go the other route of trying to score. The only time you should let your overlapping guy be a decoy is if you are on form, on fire, meaning it's like a decoy, boom, boom, straight into the top corner. But in the general play, you should be using everyone until that big chance is generated, right? So I think these patterns that we're seeing are finally Ten Hag showing authority, saying, Rashford, you're going to go on the right. I don't care about your feelings, Garnacho is more effective on the left than you are. Oh, sorry, let me change it. Garnacho is more effective on the left than he is on the right, than you are on the right to the left. So you're going to play on the right for the betterment of the team, right? And to your question, Ajay, about is it Ten Hag's fault? It's not Ten Hag's fault. These instructions are being passed out. We've seen how he plays with Ajax. He believes in the third man run. He instructs players to make that third man run, but if they don't, or if it's not his fault. It's about retraining. Think about like a program that's been running one way for their whole life, and you're finally just like a shock to the system. There's going to be a bit of bugs. Yeah, you're going to have to reboot things, a couple of things. So I think as long as we as a fan base don't get on him, like you saw what's his name, Sabitzer said about Ten Hag.
Yeah.
Glowing praises, said he's a fair man. He's a fair man. Hoyland also came out and had some really good quotes about Ten Hag. So this man is a really good coach, and we will be criminal to let the media win and get
Yeah.
this man out, because we need to realize that we need to move players on before we need to move the manager on.
Yep, 100%.
100%.
And the last thing I'll say to your point, Mama, is the angles. Like players it's a confidence thing. Like the going playing out from the back, obviously the from a fundamental perspective, the best counter to a high press, or one of the options for a counter to a high press is going over the press, right? So I think we play long in situations where it demands us to play long. I think Ten Hag is flexible in that regard, but yes, there's a preference to play out from the back. And when you don't have confident players, they're not gonna make that like angle, to receive the pass. They're not going to drop between the lines to create that option and build out, which is why we're going long. And we're seeing a slightly more confident team. We're seeing Maguire is a little bit more confident, so I'm pretty happy about the direction we're going, but it's very much still far from where we need to be. But the signs are there that if you let this man coach and you listen to him, like good things are gonna happen.
Yeah. Now I'll agree to that. And the only thing I would say Ten Hag needs to work on is his recruitment, because I think Anthony was his signing. It didn't work out. Was Mason Mount his signing?
Yeah.
I can see both sides of it, but at the end of the day, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And if he is his signing, what was the thought process in Mason Mount? Because in any which way I look at the system, Mason Mount doesn't fit in that team.
So Mohammed, okay, I'll let you finish it because I have a point I want to make.
I was just saying that, like, when I'm looking at Mount, I think he's a good player, but he doesn't fix anything we needed. Even though Casemiro was a last-minute signing, Mason Mount fixed. Casemiro can see added something to the team, gave the team something in a position and his quality. But I just feel like Mason Mount is just an improvement to the squad, not an improvement to the 11. So yes, I'm back in Ten Hag, but I have questions on that.
So I have a bias, right? One, my first bias that I'll recognize is I'm pro Ten Hag. I'm Ten Hag in, right?
100% Ten Hag in, 100%.
The second bias, not a bias, a fact. The second fact is, United is not run properly. It's terribly run. The amount of money we paid for players is ridiculous. The negotiation is trash. But the third thing I would say here is like the way, I guess this is my opinion only, right? I mean, you can agree or not, but when I look at a top level Champions League competing team, I don't think a team that is patched up with multiple different players stands a chance to be a Champions League, top Premier League. Think about how much football has evolved. Back then, you can probably survive patching up a couple players here and there, but to be at the top of the top to compete against the likes of Real Madrid, the likes of Bayern Munich, the likes of Man City, and now Arsenal, who have had enough time to rebuild their entire squad, because Arsenal fans want to act like Arteta did this overnight. No, he didn't. Arteta got rid of the entire squad and only kept people that were good enough in his squad. The entire squad. Raya, we can go through the whole list. Partey's injured. Who's there? Declan Rice. You have Saliba. You have Timber, who's injured. I get it. Gabriel, Saka, Trossard, Martinelli. Gabriel Jesus, top quality football players. If you look at Arsenal squad right now versus when Arteta came in 2006, what was it? 19 or what? I don't know.
18, 19, something like that.
Those two squads are day and night.
Yeah. Bellerin,
he got rid of everybody who had an inkling of a mistake in them. Like if you had like a hint of a mistake, you're out. He didn't care. And that's what he did to get his team to even challenge City at the minimum. You see my point? So for me, I look at the United squad, right? And people tell me you don't need 11 world-class players. That's not what we're talking about. But you need players who have a certain profile that have a certain mentality. All these things have to mesh. And because one thing I always tell Arsenal fans, they don't have the depth. I tell them all the time. I say Arteta has a good first 11 and a few good players on the bench, but y'all don't have depth. As soon as you miss two key players, we see you guys struggle. We saw the same thing with Saliba last year. We see what happens when Odegaard is not playing. So the only challenge with Arsenal right there is depth. United, we don't even have a good first 11.
Yeah.
Our first 11 that we rely on is an aging Varane. I mean, compared to last season, an aging Varane, a Casemiro who's aging, Rashford who's been inconsistent, and no striker last season. Right, this season we haven't even had a fit starting 11. Yeah. So that's the reason why my criticism for Ten Hag is a little bit reduced. It's not like it's not there. It's like I look at all the variables and I'm like, I need this man. For me, a fair criticism for Ten Hag is you have 2 seasons plus backing to sign and sell players. Then I want to see what you can do.
That is very important too.
That's for me the time where I'm looking at Ten Hag game after game where I don't even worry about Glazers or whatever. After 2 seasons where he's had fair backing, he's sold players that are not good enough. We wanted to sell Maguire, we wanted to sell McTominay. It didn't work. We wanted to sell other players, we couldn't sell them.
And the Beak as
but
well.
A fresh squad where Ten Hag is saying, I'm keeping these players, because if you say you're keeping somebody, that's your choice. So you think they're good enough. If you bring in other people, this is your team now. Right now, I don't think he's playing with a team that he 100% would prefer. That's just my opinion.
So I will agree with you guys on a lot of points, but I think we shouldn't be blaming Ten Hag about recruitment, because at a top club, you should have a recruiting department, a 100%. Sporting director that works in synergy with the team. And the reason for this is because football's evolved. There's a ton more agents. There's a lot more scouting. There's so much more that's going on that the head coach or the manager shouldn't always be involved directly with recruiting. Now he should be involved directly with recruiting, but he shouldn't be the one recruiting all of them, right? So there's that. So I'm gonna be like, okay, look, sure, Ten Hag brought in Anthony, it didn't work out. Why wasn't there structure in place to be like, yo, I know you want Anthony, and I know he's your guy, but these are the 1, 2, 3 players that we're going to give you because this is the profile they fit, blah, 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 blah. Now, obviously, you have to give a manager at least one of his guys or else he won't be happy. So, Anthony, maybe he'll come good eventually. I think there's a player in there. It's just not working at the moment. However, what I did want to say was in relation to selling players and getting a new team. Part of the reason why we can't rebuild our team as efficiently as other teams is because the players that we have are in insane contracts and they're all long-term. No one wants them. And so they'll be like, look, sure, I might not be playing, for Man United now, but if we stink up this joint enough, new manager comes and maybe he likes me, and all the while I'm still making 250, 300, something. So offloading players is a structural problem. Like historically, Man United can't offload players. We just let their contracts run out and then we let go of them, right? And so it's like, how are we going to build a team when we can't sell the players that we're bringing in to replace? Do we want to have a 50-man squad? It's impossible. So I think all these things go against Ten Hag in trying to get to where we're trying to get to. I think with Arteta, he let go of so many people fast. They sold a bunch of people. Everything was like, we're gonna get rid, and there was a plan. Whereas us, it's like, okay, we're still looking to sell Maguire to West Ham. Now let's give an example. That story went all the way down to almost the final week of the transfer window.
Yeah,
what if Maguire said, okay, we'll go? What would United's second plan have been to get a centre back?
Well, it was going to be Todibo or one of the other players, but that was going to be sale.
And it would have been last minute, which would have given the agent a lot more leverage in the negotiations of the contract. Maybe personal terms were already agreed. I don't know what the situation is, but the point I'm making is that it just feels like everything. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We're always in a bad position to negotiate because we don't do our business well and on time, because it doesn't seem that there's one cohesive structure running across the whole team. So that is all compounding to the actual problem that Ten Hag faces of rebuilding his squad and playing the way he wants to play. When Casemiro came in, my first reaction was like, oh my God, they've done it again. How have they given us a 30-year-old guy in his last days, 350? This is Sanchez again. This is Cavani again. This is Radamel Falcao again. How do they always do it? But then, to be fair, I watched him last season and I was like, you know what? Throw my criticism out the window because this man has taken us to a new level. Oh, these guys knew what they were doing. And then this season, it's back to it's back to what we
I think Real Madrid gave him injections before he came to last season. They're like, hey man, we're gonna patch him up and then give it
to but even like just even as good as Casemiro is, right? There is no reason why a club like Manchester United in the state we're in should have gone for him as their starting six, because we're gonna have to replace him in 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not saying that I think in that moment he was what we needed. And I'm still Casemiro. I still think we're gonna see good quality once the team settles. However, just not to criticize him at all. We should be going for the next generational player. We should be going for Bellingham.
Declan Rice.
We should be going for Declan Rice. We should be going for these players, but we're not because we're confused. So I think Ten Hag will figure it out.
Also, in addition to that is what I think. I don't know who. I think Gina, you might have posted in the chat where it's like when Ralph is talking about this is not a minor change; it's an open heart surgery. Yep. If you constantly change your managers, you're starting all over again.
It makes no sense. Again.
Yeah, you gave this guy some money, you gave him players to buy, then the next manager might want to play something different, might not see those guys again, and your whole process starts again. You know, it's like you're never really solving an issue. And then, I mean, and this is why I guess for me, I have an agenda to get the Glazers out, right? And that's why I always just pointed at, because you know, we can talk about all these little incremental steps that needs to be recruitment team, 100%. Like, I think the recruitment team, sometimes they recruit on Sky Sports, you know.
Right. On Twitter.
Like, I mean, let's remember when they wanted to buy Rabiot.
Yeah.
Because of fans' protest on like social media, we didn't get it. Just crazy, right?
Sorry, which is insane to your point. Like, Ten Hag wanted Rabiot. Yep. Ten Hag was like, this is my guy. Mm-hmm. And the fans were like, no, how dare you? And Man United is like, let's not go. How is that a mentality of a serious club?
They care about social media more than they care about
brands and algorithms. Yeah. It's Absolutely. Like if it's about positive and negative sentiment.
Absolutely.
There's a threshold that they have where if positive sentiment is above a certain threshold, everything is as is. Really? When sentiment starts to go down to a certain critical level, they sack the manager. Like they're literally a brand play. They do this like a portfolio as opposed to a football operation. And sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're right. I'm agreeing with what you guys are saying.
No, and this all points to these guys there.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it is up to the people. Like, they make the ultimate decision. Like, I believe, right? Because I was thinking about this, right? Every time I keep hearing about Ralph, John Marder, like, if you listen to him, right? There was one interview where he came out, you know, and they were, you know, when the fans went to protest at his house, and he's like, he's like, listen, he was saying, you see what happened with Ed Woodward. Do you guys want the same thing to be happening? That's why we have this guy here to make the footballing decisions, and his job is to go upstairs after. But it just Ralph was just too brutally honest and laying the blame where it actually is, to where I believe the Glazers pushed the button on him too. Yeah. And I still feel like Ten Hag, maybe him and Ten Hag might have had some clashes where who has the really big power. But it all goes back to that upper management making the decision in terms of having the correct people making that decision. That the United team recruitment, bro. Look at it from a standpoint of since Sir Alex Ferguson left, right? Bruno is the only good signing we've had.
Yeah.
Zlatan, I mean, won us a trophy, but then again, that's one of those you could add with the Falcao and all these.
Yeah, exactly. They did it again.
It's like it'll give you that one season, but it's really short-handed. Like, Bruno is the only player I feel like, if I have to think about it, that we've signed that has some longevity in it, has a plan, and adds quality to the team. Everything else is short-term or doesn't really fit. You signed Sancho for Oli in a team that made sense, because you can see that Oli signed and we missed that right winger, and you can see how Sancho was going to fit into it. You sack Oli, then everything goes left again and you start again. We still have Sancho, who's the highest paid player in United, who hasn't even kicked. I've played more minutes than Sancho.
but you know what's even sadder about the Sanchez situation is Ollie's interview after with the Athletic, where he goes, yeah, when he came to the club, obviously his favorite position was the left position, but we already had Rashford there. How do you spend your whole
Oh, summer.
season
Mhm.
summer trying to get this one guy with the
And
assumption that we're going to play him on the right? Then he comes to your club and say, "Oh, the reason why I don't play him on the right is because he's better on the left." Make it make sense. It was so shameful when I heard that. I was like,
and I
"What?"
remember there were a few games where they put Sancho on the left. I remember
Yeah,
those.
they did. I
And he
was like,
looked good.
I really was like, I was confused. I'm like, we signed Sancho to
On
put
the
him on
right.
the right, but
Exactly,
It's
exactly. And
printed. It's printed.
sorry, there was something you said earlier that I wanted to. Oh yeah, Murto, right? So even the fact that we're saying John Murto is is the guy we're meant to send to war against, like the Edus and the Chikis and those guys, like come on, I remember when uh when Evra came on Sky Sports and
yeah,
said
yeah,
that he had
yeah,
agents calling him because
yeah,
Judge wasn't picking up his phone.
yeah.
Like these people are just not like they. I
No,
think they get overwhelmed. And Gary Neville came out and said he feels, and Gary Neville has inside information sometimes. He says he feels that Man United's approach to football negotiations is a little bit too soft. We get taken advantage of and taken place. Because I can imagine John Murto being a gentleman, being like, so what do we think that we should do here, with a classy way, and then you
He just
get
not
these
like,
fucking vultures who
and they're
are
like,
like, yeah, let's play three people against each other. Let's get this club. And the football world is so brutal when you hear about Sam Allardyce talk about agents and players, Redknapp. And I feel that we have a naive like board where we believe agents and we get like
not even speaking of
hoaxed.
vacuum. Let's not even speaking of vacuum. Um, De Young,
oh,
De Jong.
that
John
one.
Carter, all these guys, like, how is it that
Who-
you fly to Barcelona, right? And
Yeah.
you still don't get the player. You're pictured going there. Like the team that Barcelona wants to sell him. And then you hear reports that he wants to stay, he wants to go. Like, you hearing all these reports, and it goes on for that long. Like, it needs to be like, okay, yo, like De Jong, we're hearing that you want to go. Do you want to come or not? If it's like a no, then let it go. But
Then let it go and go for the next one.
Next
exactly.
Boom.
person. Simple. You don't gotta stay there and negotiate, make this a whole.
Negotiate and flying to Barcelona, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it just getting taken advantage of, bro. And
Yeah.
that's complete what happened. And not even that. There's what is the thought process, right? What are we looking for? What type of profile are we looking for? Because okay,
Right.
De Jong makes sense, even as a profile of player, makes sense to what Ten Hag wants to play. But then you go
Right.
sign Casemiro. Then you go sign Sabitzer. Well, Sabitzer you needed the numbers. I can understand that. Cool. But then you go sign Mason Mount.
And then you go sign Amrabat.
Then you go
And then
sign
you then you get rid of Fred, but you don't replace Fred. So the thing with Fred, though, I actually thought Mason Mount was gonna be like the more attacking, more technical version
Fred.
of Fred. That's what I thought his role was. And I saw him, we played him in that 8 position. But then I've just realized Mason Mount is a bit lightweight. He doesn't have that
Tenacity.
tenacity that Fred has. So
Right.
even in that replacement, you didn't really replace Fred, And I
mean,
read,
even,
sorry,
even if, sorry to cut you off, even if that's the case, I am still upset because I always believe you have to improve your 11. That is
yeah,
the way I see it, right? I feel like, I don't know who mentioned it here with like the way we sign in and that's building the squad. I think Mason Mount signing is an improvement of the squad. But United are not that. Man City make signings to improve their squad because they have a 11, right?
mhm,
And they're fixing things to bring in players to improve. And eventually we buy you to improve the squad, but then you get into the 11 because you're good enough and you've proven yourself. United are the case where, bro, if Johnny Evans was not injured, he's starting today. He's now a
yeah,
starting 11.
Yeah.
We need players that improves our 11. So when you're signing players for that money and Mason Mount as a first striker, a first signing, you need to sign someone that's going to improve your 11.
Yeah.
So I'm still upset with that. Even if Mason Mount is a replacement of Fred, Fred was not a starter.
Right.
So you're replacing and that's the issue I'm having with the United structure team, bro. You know what I'm saying?
So you said Johnny Evans would have started if he was fit. That is ironically because he does improve by 11. Like Johnny Evans is a really good player. The only problem is that we bought him at age 36 and not at age 26. So that's what
Erickson. Same thing about a lot of
that's what's really sad is the fact that we're relying on people at the end of their careers.
I think Johnny Evans wasn't bought. He was a free agent, no?
Yeah, it's free agent. He signed to train to keep fit. And Ten Hag was like, yo, this guy is actually better than what we have. Sign him up. Like, can you imagine that? That was an accidental signing.
Yeah. That was
man went to train. Man went to go to Carrington to keep his legs warm so that some other team can maybe buy him.
United were like, we got you.
We got you, dog. Like this is like the reverse of or the extension of giving Phil Jones a 5-year contract extension at 100K.
Except this guy plays. Phil Jones didn't.
But Phil Jones was, bro, that boy was kind of collecting checks for nothing.
But imagine someone in that structure that made that decision to give Phil Jones an extended contract.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying.
It's unbelievable.
Sentiment. We are Sentiment FC.
We're a romantic club without realizing that a lot of the romance that was built came out of success of hardworking, extremely gifted players, right? Now it's more like we're still old school, which I like because I never want us to lose that charm. Like, Jay, you went to Old Trafford, right? There was that feeling of, wow, this feels like I've stepped back into time, and you're like, everything feels very like this is a pure English ground, you know? And I love that atmosphere about it. But if we suck, it's gonna be depressing. It's gonna be depressing. So I think we needed to have gone for a player who was Johnny Evans, but better and younger. We should have gone for a player who was Varane, but better and younger.
I'm not mad at the Højlund signing.
Højlund's good. Højlund's a good signing.
It's perfect. You can tell he's working, he's determined, and he's not here for like when we played against, sorry, man, I'm gonna come to you, sorry, but like I remember when we played against City, they asked Pep, like, what do you like about Bernardo Silva? He's like, he's a player, he loves football, he plays football, he's not a celebrity, he doesn't care about all the other things that come out with the whole being the star and everything. He's there for the purest sense to play football and help the team. And I feel like Paul Scholes
just read my mind. It's exactly what I was thinking about right now. Who is another player that was just like that for United? Paul Scholes.
Exactly. And even I feel like Højlund is one of those as well, like where he's getting his head down, he's trying to improve his game and help the team. He's it's about becoming a better footballer. I see that in him. I see that in him, in the way he plays. I don't feel like he's not there complaining, and he's still young. He's still new to the game.
You're saying Bernardo Silva, right? The whole city, except for probably Grealish. Probably Grealish is the only person who likes to party and enjoys celebrity. But even Grealish is more disciplined now. Grealish is the only person that I see who even cares to be flashy.
But
all these players are like robot focused. Like one is the best machine.
But even to Grealish's point, sure, Grealish loves this lifestyle and party, but when he's on the pitch, you can tell he's playing for the joy of the game.
That's my point.
Like he's playing within the team. So even if he's out and about, he still fits that mentality of these people love football. Yeah. What I would say, just a caveat on Højlund, I sense that Højlund wants to be the man. Like I sense that there's a level of ego, and which is not a bad thing. Okay, so I think strikers is a little bit different because you need that exactly. So, but I think he is a hard worker and he is playing for the love of football. But I do believe there's an element of, and the reason why I say that is when they scored against Copenhagen and McTominay gave him the assist and ran towards him. Højlund didn't look at McTominay once. He went straight for the crowd, did the whole chest thing. And then after the fact, he congratulated. Whereas I'm like, when someone gives you a tap in, generally speaking, the City players are running to like clap and that. So that's why I saw the mentality. This guy
Yeah, I'm not
needs
mad
to
at
be.
that.
I'm not mad, but it's
But
something
his
that needs
mentality,
to be coached.
that's
Like,
I,
like,
I feel
yeah,
like I like that because like
Yeah,
I
and then,
like it. I like it. I
yeah,
like
for
it.
me it's
But
more like
also,
I'm a mentality merchant. Like for me, it's like, hey, I think a mentality makes a bigger difference between players.
yeah,
I will take a player that is slightly less talented but has a better mentality than someone who's
yeah, yeah,
talented has a poor mentality. Always, I'll always do that. And I think
yeah,
Hoyland needed that because there was doubt, and him and Garnacho similar in that type of mentality where if you doubt
right,
them, they want to prove a point.
yeah.
right.
Whereas I feel like where we're at with Rashford is lots of money in the bank. He doesn't have a proof point. He's chilling. You know what I'm saying? He wants to. It's not like he's doing it on purpose. Rashford. I think he's in a bad patch, but
No, but no, it's mentality. I don't think it's about bad patch. Like, look at how when everyone sort
scored.
of walks out on the lineup. What does Rashford do? He stays a little bit back and creates distance between the last player and him as they walk out. It's something as minuscule as that shows me where his head is at. It's about the image, it's about the persona. Whereas I think he's trying to follow the Ronaldo blueprint because Ronaldo used to do that. Let's be honest. He would stay back, let people go, get the shine.
Yeah.
But the difference is Ronaldo is a psychopath. Ronaldo is like on that mentality where it's like it's so bad for the team in general that it becomes really good for the team in the sense that he is so singularly focused about his performance and his impact on the game that he drives himself to unimaginable lengths to make sure he does well. And in doing so, the team does well because
Yeah.
he's having an impact. Whereas Rashford doesn't have that level of mentality that because Ronaldo's a hard worker. Let's not get it twisted. Like, sure, he's selfish and everything like that, but he's selfish within service for the team, which is a weird way to say it. Whereas Rashford is trying to get all that "I'm the man" energy, which is good. I remember 2-3 seasons ago, I started seeing Rashford walk with his chest out, and so I was like, oh, this academy player has graduated into a man. He went into PSG with a point to prove, and like I like that, but it has to be backed up with, like a level of either undeniable quality and consistency or a cohesion with your teammates and hopefully both. And Rashford is not the last game against Copenhagen, he was playing well until he got the red card. But I felt his mentality today, and granted, his brother, is going through some shit. So as a human being, you may not be in a good place to your point. However, this is not isolated to his brother this instant. This has been going on for about 2 seasons now. And I think you just need someone who's just gonna literally a leader, hold him accountable, bring him down and say, Rashford, who are you? Who are you? Who do you think you are in this grand scheme of things? And do you think if you look at this clip, you look at this clip, you look at this clip, is that representative of the boy who grew up in Manchester, the boy who came up from the academy, the boy who fought with 30, was it 39 on his back? Like he came out hungry and he's sort of lost that. So you just need to sit him down and have that heart to heart with him and just say, be real with yourself. Do you want to be here or not?
I mean, even to add to your point, even in the press conference, I think Ten Hag said that he's not happy with him. Not that he said in a negative way. He's like, I'm not satisfied with him. Rashford is not satisfied with himself. The team isn't satisfied with him in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least there's that self-awareness, And I don't want to go back to the Sancho situation, but hey, people keep saying,
yeah.
As a player, you should go on social media. If you're not performing, you're not performing. It's just it's point. Back or what?
And I like that about Rashford because he sometimes he put his head down, but he's never really thrown a fit at like outwardly, press conference, his agents, and none of that. He's always taking the criticism on the chin, which I respect him for that. He's never thrown a hissy fit, But to your point about showing Rashford clips, Kante saying here in a comment saying that I still can't believe a big football club as Man United doesn't have an actual director of football on a recruiting system. I think now United needs to look at what is our plan forward, right? Let me just say, what is our plan forward? What does life after Rashford look like, right? What is that? Because I think last season I said that United next season should not count Martial in this team. Like they shouldn't, when we're thinking about a team, Martial should not be in that thought process. If he plays well and puts himself there, fine. Then account for him. I think United now. I love Rashford, bro. let me just do this. So like
That's what it could be.
I love Rashford. Yeah, right. That's my boy. Right.
Yeah, I love
But
Rashford too, but
but United now next season or when this recruitment team hopefully comes in or whatever, right, if they're doing their job, is like, what does life outside of Rashford looks like next season? I think that is it Garnacho? I don't know. Let's see what the end of the season look like. Or do we need to start signing someone that's gonna eventually take Rashford's position? I think we need to do that. And because what ends up happening is that we just call in this repetitive cycle.
Yep.
And to even counter everything I'm saying, I don't think we have these type of conversations in the board level. I don't think they have that, or even if they do, they don't know how to execute that properly.
right.
They don't know how to go in and get a Doku or get someone else that's gonna
Or
bid in.
Mbappe.
Even how are they gonna put a plan together, put in Mbappe? They don't even know how to do that. That's the problem.
And
I feel like they're gonna wait towards the end of the season and then be like, all right,
Who gonna get?
let's go into it.
Yeah, so I know I just said Mbappe, but actually speaking, I don't necessarily want Mbappe at our club. I just think that bringing someone with that level of power and demands and wages and all that kind of stuff is just going to unsettle what we're trying to build. But even though as a talent and as a footballer, if I woke up tomorrow and Mbappe was in our team, of course I'll be happy. But I think for where we're at, I don't know if he's the right profile. I was just putting that name out. But I wanted to just go back, when we're talking about mentality, because I don't necessarily think we need to sell Rashford because I do believe there's a player in him. But I think
I feel like I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
No, I just think his role needs to be different. I don't think we can necessarily rely on him as the starting guy. But I think if he is in our squad and eventually shows form, he can take that place. But I think we need someone better than him who's starting, like 100%. However, I want to go back to mentality. When you were talking about Sancho doesn't have the mentality or whatever, look at Wan-Bissaka and look at Harry Maguire. Two people who people criticized, said they weren't good enough for Man United. Wan-Bissaka has gone in the lab and has basically made himself not just competent in attack, but good in attack. Now, it doesn't always look natural, but he's improved. He didn't go to social media. He didn't sulk. He didn't do all that kind of stuff. He just worked on it. Maguire, the same thing. Rashford, if he fixes mentality, a lot of things can happen just on the basis of that, Like, I think we need to, what you were saying, like, mentality is one of the most important things. And maybe he isn't that guy. And to your points, we should sell him. But it's always hard to sell someone that came from the academy. But I just don't think he's doing himself any favors by the fact that he is always like shirking responsibility, fake tracking back, not working for the team, all that kind of stuff. So if he continues to do that, get him out the club.
I want to clarify something. I'm not saying get him out the club. I'm saying the second point you just said, don't consider him the main guy again. Like, don't go into the season being like, yo, Rashford is the one we're going to depend on to win us games, win us goals, and get us the titles. No, like, he needs to be like, definitely don't sell him. Keep him in the squad. He's good enough, even if it considers him starting. But what is the next plan? Like, what is that next step? He's getting older, right? And he's shown that he's shown you also that, like, there's been, like, Kante has been saying all these guys that he's not done it for like 8 years again. So consistently, like, back to back.
Yeah.
So don't sell him, but you also need to, like, it's a football club. It needs to always change.
Yeah, it needs to evolve.
And, like, Man United, I'm so aware, like, even Van Nistelrooy at one time was one of the best players that in the world. But then you had someone else coming in to challenge in that position, to his position. All these defenders, midfielders. Rio Ferdinand said it all the time in his podcast. He said, bro, like, every time there was someone else trying to take my position, they were signing someone else. I wasn't worried because I knew that, one, I'm better than them, or I'm gonna step up like a Wan-Bissaka. Like, it just needs to. That's what needs to happen. There needs to be that challenge in your position, and to even get back to what we're talking about, like clubs and other clubs. Kante is saying here, Man City only signed Haaland and maybe Mahrez as world-class players. The rest were all great scouts, players that develop into a great team. He's naming Diaz, Rodley, Akanji, Alvarez, Doku, and Stones, which is correct.
We were linked with Diaz. for a little while from Benfica. We were linked with Stones when he was still, I think, was it Birmingham before he moved? Everton. Yeah, we were linked with him because he was the main English guy. Everyone was vying for him. We were linked with Julian Alvarez. Ragnick said he came and proposed
Yeah.
the board sign, and we didn't.
And
So
there was,
it's
Liverpool that went to Liverpool as well.
yeah, Cody Gakpo as well. Darwin Núñez.
Yeah.
So so I think it's an execution thing from our board. We've seen, like, maybe this is the same conversation with Rashford, but just because he's from the academy, I don't want to just come out and say sell him.
Yeah,
But squad player.
I'm going to disagree with you guys, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm disagreeing. Okay. And it's probably not going to happen, right? But I'm going to disagree. I'll say sell Rashford, and if you ask me why,
okay,
this is my point. For me, I'm looking at it not from what potential he has or what he can do, his threat. I'm looking at it from like from a financial standpoint, even like all different angles considered. Sell him, cut your losses. Because one, you're always dealing with the possibility that he's going to be inconsistent. That's always been there for Rashford. He's never had 2 seasons back to back where he's been like phenomenal, 30 plus goals. For that amount of money, you should be giving me Salah numbers. I do not. For me, it's like more. It's like the bar is it should be high.
Right.
So I'll say cut your losses. One, he's getting paid $300 plus £1,000 per week. That's a lot of money to have 1 goal in I don't know how many Premier League games. That's a lot of money. You compare that to other wingers in the league that are getting way less and they're producing goals, assists. Come on. For me, I'll cut my losses on Rashford. And
that's fair.
If you don't sell him, because the reason why I say sell him is because there's no other solution for Rashford.
Other option, he won't accept the bench. He won't accept the
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's my point. My point is he's on such a high wage and high pedestal that a fit Rashford on the bench is gonna bring media attention, and it's not gonna improve him as a player. It's not gonna help the team. The team's more chemistry is gonna be sour because he's gonna be sulking about it. That's why I'm saying that just get rid of him in a nice way.
To that point, right? Are United in a position where we can sell Rashford?
Right now we can't. No, right now we cannot.
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. We have inflated contracts, long-term contracts on people that are assets that people won't want to spend that much money on, so we're stuck with them.
Yeah, so right now we can't. But going towards next season, right? My point is going towards next season, have a scouting plan where you find replacements for Rashford. 2-3 wingers that are versatile, can play from the left, can play from the right, maybe one that can do both, or find a replacement for him who's like a scouted replacement, and then figure out a way to either sell him to a top club, or if he shows some signs towards the end of the season, maybe you keep him for another year. But do not extend the contract. That's one.
Yeah. But let me ask though. Now this comes down to our conversation about improving your 11, right? Say by whatever magic happens, or Rashford is sold this summer, right? Are we saying that Garnacho is going to be our starting left winger, number one? And number two, are we getting someone who's going to be better than Garnacho and keep Garnacho on the bench again, which then almost defeats the purpose of necessarily selling, Rashford? Because all we're gonna do is we're gonna stunt development of one player by dropping the general level of the team in hopes that it gets better if we sell Rashford. Because I think Garnacho has a higher ceiling than Rashford for sure, but we all know as of right now he's not ready. So selling Rashford is effectively gonna make our team, or not. Okay, putting Garnacho in the starting 11 is going to make our team a little bit, like this. So the replacement for Rashford, is that going to be someone who's worse than Garnacho, who's going to, be his understudy? Or is it going to be someone who will invest in 6-7 years at a high contract, which effectively will relegate Garnacho to a bench player for a long time, which Garnacho is not going to be happy about because this man wants the number 7 shirt, and we may end up losing him. So how would you? It's easy enough to say, okay, Rashford should go, but how do you construct that left wing position going forward for it to be a sensible decision?
So let me put it this way: Grealish was left winger for Man City, right? Trouble winner. Look at Doku. Is Doku better than Grealish? You can make an argument that they are competing for that position. That on any week Doku could start, and on any week Grealish could start, and they will both offer.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
so
fair.
For me, you bring somebody who is either at Garnacho's level or better. That way, there's competition. Because even with Garnacho and Rashford, if you look at their general career, you would say Rashford is a better player than Garnacho on their best day.
Yeah.
But he's putting Rashford on the left or on the right.
On the right, yeah.
On the bench, right? Or in place of the bench, he's being shifted to the right. So you bring somebody who's better than Garnacho, that actually improves Garnacho. Actually makes him realize, oh my God, I'm not the automatic replacement. I gotta fight for this position. And now I gotta step my game up even further.
So you're saying, sorry, you're saying bring a 20-something-year-old, 22-year-old winger that's at the level of better and ship. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Or just keep them
fair.
like there's no stop. One has the shirt. You have to like.
You have to,
yeah.
And I think United, that's where we lacked in the past few years. Where
that's true.
Like Ten Hag, this is why I love one of the things he does. Is he doesn't just give, except for a few exceptions, right?
Anthony.
He makes people, Anthony. He makes people fight for the shirt. Martial was benching, he was benching.
He was benching Ronaldo.
He was benching Ronaldo, but also you see sometimes Højlund would get subbed at 60 minutes, and we're like, boo, like why was he subbing? And then he'll bring Martial, and then Rashford or the center backs, the midfielders, he swapped out everyone except for Onana. Onana,
Right.
And Onana, I think he was one mistake away from getting benched. By end there. And for goalkeepers, you can understand that takes a while. You don't want to mess up their confidence. So I think we always need to have competing players for every position. We've seen that Haaland is the number one striker, and I hate to bring Man City, but they're the top of the top, right? So we have to use that as the bar.
Haaland,
now we see Haaland is the number one striker for City. But what happens anytime he's benched and Alvarez is there? Alvarez is still scoring.
Yeah.
So that makes you wonder, like, okay, he also knows Haaland, man.
Haaland knows if I'm not performing,
can go without me.
Take my shirt. Yeah. Look at De Bruyne.
De Bruyne
was out after 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And man's like, do we even need him? This guy's probably like questioning his career.
Thank you. So every single player has that back of mind. The team can function without me. The moment they don't have that at the back of their mind, they can do anything they want and get away with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now I like that, and I think that just helps. It creates an environment where the manager can have control of the team, and you having a team that constantly. You have different systems that you can play and different type of personality you can play, because a Doku and a Jack Grealish are completely different type of players. Their playing style is different. It allows you to change different things in game as well, which I think sometimes United, depending on our starting 11, we don't have that ability to change the way we play. We don't have a way of tweaking it. It's kind of, if your plan A doesn't work, you may have maybe one substitute really to do, but you're you can replace a player in that system, but you can't really change the way you play. So I'm not mad at that, bro. I'm not mad at that, because ultimately it's about United. But I think everything we're saying, just all of this only happens if the
Glazers
is solid. If it's not solid, what's gonna happen?
You can't execute.
You can't execute, or you just start again.
Yeah.
The media pressure tells you, how are you gonna listen to opposition fans telling you to fire your manager, then you go and do it? It blows my mind, where people who do not support United or don't want United to win are telling you, man, this guy is trash. He doesn't know what he's doing. You have to fire him. Clearly, he doesn't know. You've given him all. Like, these motherfuckers do not want you to succeed.
All right. And now they're saying De Zerbi. Look at how Brighton's been performing. They're not like it's not football is not magic,
Not magic.
Like football is a accumulation of details that may end up in a particular result, right? Like this league is going to be so tough that people are going to be dropping points against each other all the time. So the winning team is the only team that's manages to put a run together, So we shouldn't overreact whenever we
Spurs. I told him the same thing. I'm like, yo, Andrew's a great coach, don't get me wrong. Spurs is doing very, very well. Don't get me wrong. But all these teams have one thing in common: depth. You took out
Yeah.
two, three players, and you see a big gap in performance and drop a big drop in performance, and you wonder, wow, how's that possible? Because someone was telling me, well, why does United need a whole squad or a whole new team that's good enough when Ange Postecoglou just came in and he's using the same players he had? I'm like, yeah, but Ange Postecoglou
Has the first 11.
yeah, thank you very much. He has a good first 11. You see,
Yeah.
he doesn't change them. Van der Ven, well, that boy, he trusts that guy.
Yeah.
He trusts Romero. As reckless as Romero is, he trusts him for the certain qualities that Romero has that none of the other defenders have. Dyer doesn't have that. There's that
Yeah.
that tenacity.
Ferocity. Yeah.
Exactly, that Romero makes it work because Ange plays high energy ball. You know, the ball has to keep moving. You have to be able to press quick. Dyer isn't that fast. So all these other teams that are fake challenging don't have the depth compared to compared to like even Chelsea have more depth than a lot of these teams that they don't realize yet.
But
and Arsenal and all, and you know,
even to your point, even the team that has the most depth struggled when Rodri was out.
Yeah, exactly.
They lost 3 games in a row. Was it three games in a row? 1 in the Champions League, 2 in the league, or was it 2 games in a row? But they lost games when you just took one guy out.
Yep.
One player. So it goes to show that, you know, as genius as all these coaches are, if you don't have the quality on the pitch to execute, your game plan is worth
Newcastle
nothing.
right now are losing 2-0.
Right. The genius, Eddie Howe. I love Eddie Howe, but everyone was saying Man United in crisis. Imagine if United went to Bournemouth and lost 2-0.
2-0 right now.
The vultures will be saying sack Ten Hag, but no one's going to say sack Eddie Howe. And that's because we're the biggest club in the world, so I understand it. But also, it's just going to show people are going to lose games this season.
And you have to accept that. And let's do this last comment. So Kante said, I'm very serious. We need better trainers too. I can't tell you how many goals we've conceded from set pieces. Vice versa, we don't score much in set pieces either, which is true. True.
Yeah.
I think United right now, we just need a holistic approach. And I think that's the problem. I think we need a plan forward.
Yeah.
How are we gonna and this is what, again, I'm putting the blazes again. Everybody needs to think about how is United gonna get back to winning trophies. If it's gonna be a 3-4 year plan, I'm not opposed to that, but have a plan
but and stick to it. Yeah.
Right? So you understand what you're doing. Put the right people in place. It doesn't matter. Like even with Pep Guardiola's season did not start when he was there. It started a couple seasons ago when they were getting him the players he wanted. You could tell that this was it was a strategic plan. You see the Barcelona people were coming in. The Tikis and all these guys were coming into the squad, having things in place. So when he comes in, it just flows. You need a plan forward, and you need the top to be invested to lace their boots and understand it's going to be a bumpy road, but we're going to push through it. If that's not there, it's going to constantly change week in, week out. And you're going to listen to Twitter and these trolls to tell you what to be done. And until then, our club is going to be in disarray. So
I have one quick point to make there in regards to Pep Guardiola when he came in. It's a very interesting point. And one of the things I value the most in the football world is players' actual comments and quotes. Because we can all argue, like debate, we're fans, we're pundits here and there. But for former professionals and actual professionals, when they make statements, like these things should resonate beyond what the media is saying, because these are the people who are actually on the ground. Gundogan said he thought he knew football until he went to Man City. He said he went to Man City at 25, 26 at a time where he was supposed to be in his prime, right? And he said he thought he knew football. He said he knew nothing about football because when he got to Pep's school, he said it was just so much that he didn't realize makes like details, you know, the things that Pep would show him, the little tiny things that he thought, you know, he never thought about actually. Where it was a lot basically, and the statement he said it's an interview right there out there. He said he didn't know anything at 25. A professional player who was very good at 25 is telling you everything he thought he knew about football was a lie.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, I'm not gonna end the pod on a Man City praise.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'll tie it back to United.
Yeah.
I'll tie it back to United to say.
I'm gonna end it on. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna tie it back to say that it takes a while for certain players to understand a coach's philosophy. and it takes a certain type of players to also be able to understand it and then execute it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I feel like
You're cheating, it's easier to do that. You know
yeah,
what I'm
United fans need
saying?
to be
If you're
patient.
cheating, it's easy to do that. Play by
Yeah.
the fucking rules.
That's
Right?
true.
How
Well,
about that? We all can cheat. If it's
Yeah.
cheating, if you're playing fucking football manager and you put the cheat block in to get all the players you want, lose, it's easy to win.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
easy to win. They
Yeah,
talk
like-
about deducting points from Everton. Play fucking fair. That's how I feel. Because if it's cheating, we all can win, bro. So play it how you want. So that's how
true.
I end up fuck Man City. Appreciate
Agreed.
for everybody that was chat in Memphis. You know, appreciate you guys today. Appreciate mom and Brohan for coming on today, man. Check out, we got a couple more videos, and we're gonna do one more video too, a little quick video here, man. Man United Luton. It was the Man United post match. Man United Luton post match. Appreciate everybody for coming on. It was nice. And love, man. Like, comment, and subscribe, man. And we're gonna be on the boys tomorrow to do the review. Hopefully Chelsea lose. I just need Chelsea to lose, and that makes my day.
No, why would you want Chelsea to lose? Surely you want Man City to lose.
I want City to lose, man.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. I don't, but honestly, I don't even I always want them to lose, bro. But
Yeah.
Well, let them draw. Get a point each.
Nah, dude. I want a 9-0, and I want Jackson to score 5. You know.
Oh, wait. It's Chelsea Man City.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I didn't know they were playing. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Let me rewind that. Oh, City lose. I just want Chelsea to lose every week so that I can talk shit. That's what I was thinking. I forgot that it was the Chelsea Man City. Oh, yeah. 100%. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah.
Fuck Man City. You can see that.
Yeah, fuck Man City.
You can tell. I stopped listening. I don't City, bro. I don't even, in my universe, they don't exist, bro.
Yeah, no, you know what? And that's the
I just ignore
mentality. You know, you're right. I know we're trying to close, but for as much as we're saying City is a good team, let's not forget who we are. These guys are just new guys on the block. You know? Let them come have their fun. When the sleeping giant wakes up, dude, there's no competing. Can you imagine if United, or when United wins the league again? Just imagine how the world would react.
Yeah.
The world. We have the biggest fan base in the world.
Yeah.
Let's not let these rats
come
into our squad, you know?
Plastic over here, bro. I hate these fuckers. But yeah, man, appreciate everybody, bro. Love.
Ten Hag in. Let's go.